Hello, scholars! Today we are going to begin our discussion on the history of the English language. The topic is a mountain of a subject, but for our course it's important that you have an understanding of some of the basics. So let's jump in. We are interested in answering this question: why do we communicate in English? Why are we using this language, these words? In the United States in the 21st century, why do we speak this form of English? To answer this question, we need to recall some history. First of all, let's talk about why we speak English in the United States instead of, say, French or Spanish. You'll probably come up with the answer quickly, that it's because the United States was formerly a British colony. I'm sure you know from history classes that former Spanish colonies speak Spanish and that former French colonies speak French. So that answers why we speak English as a common language versus some other possibilities. But another part of the question has to do with why we use the specific words we do. These exact words that we're using to communicate right now. How did we get those words? To answer that question, we need to look at the history of the island of Great Britain for the last 2,000 years. Don't look at me like that. Give me a chance to explain. Around 2,000 years ago, a group of people called the Celts were inhabiting Great Britain. All was well until a group called the Romans invaded. Then, for the next several hundred years, the island started getting attacked by some different groups called the Jutes, the Angles, the Saxons, and the Vikings. Finally, in the year 1066, the Normans attacked during the Battle of Hastings. There is a ton of history behind all of these invasions, of course, but the main point we want to see is that each of these invasions brought a new culture to the people living in Great Britain. This means that every time a group invaded, the people who lived there were exposed to new ideas in customs, religion, and language. When the people who lived there began to communicate with the invaders, their languages merged. The natives began to use loan words, which are words adopted by the speakers of one language from a different language. Now we're getting to the real purpose of our first unit, etymology, which is the study of how language develops because of these changes in culture. Coming up in British literature, you'll learn more about each of the cultures that has contributed words to the English language, and we'll learn more about how language has evolved over the centuries. Take luck, scholars!
Created using Powtoon.